Welcome to another episode of the SprintCarUnlimited.com Daily, which is free on our SprintCarUnlimited.com YouTube page. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the World Racing Group's decision to go to an invitation-only event for their races at Bristol Motor Speedway, April 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. The group made this decision based on safety. They're worried about maybe a team showing up with not the latest and greatest equipment that maybe isn't as durable as some of the newer stuff that are on a lot of cars. They're also concerned about safety equipment not being up to standards for some teams and not being as best as it could be heading into an event that or a facility that has as much speed as Bristol and could also be potentially dangerous. There was a big uproar on Twitter and social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, over this latest decision by the World Racing Group. A lot of people are angry because there are drivers and teams who plan to go, and they probably will not be able to partake in this or participate in this event because they're just not going to make the list. I agree with the World Racing Group making this decision. However, there's an underlying problem for me. I don't believe they should be there in the first place. In an age where safety is a concern or has become in the last 3 years, if you have to set rules or special rules and limit people to come to your race because of safety, you probably shouldn't be there in the first place. And it's likely not any safer for the guys who are going to be participating in the event. 20 years ago, the sprint cars were at Bristol, and safety was a concern then. Even though they built the bottom of the speedway up 8 feet, visibility was limited. Guys were cutting slits in the wings. They were putting extra panels on some of the cars, or were looking at putting extra panels on the cars. And still, visibility was a concern out the right side, which has limited visibility to begin with. I've been in one of those cars. I've sat in those cars, never driven one, don't plan to, have no desire to, but I've been in one. And seeing out of the right side is tough enough. To be at a place like Bristol, I clipping around at those speeds, I can only imagine what it is. I've talked to a few drivers on this very topic over the last month, high-profile drivers, and they are concerned about it. They're going to race it, but again, there's an uneasy feeling, and they lean toward that they don't need to be there. So, look, a lot of detractors of what I'm saying are going to say, hey, sprint car racing's dangerous. It's not always going to be safe. No, you're right. Sprint car racing is dangerous. But why tempt fate? Why deliberately go someplace that you know is going to be fast? You could dry it out and make it dry slick, but here's the problem. It's April. The air is going to be good. It's going to likely be cool, and God knows what track conditions are going to be like. I just hope they keep them as dry as possible to slow them down. Over the last 3 years, there's been a heightened awareness on safety. There's been bars on the cages and other initiatives taken. So it really makes no sense to me why they would go here and where you need special safety rules. And that's where I'm at on this. I just don't, again, I applaud the World Racing Group for doing it, but I still question whether they should be there. And I have to ask myself, why are they going? What are we trying to accomplish by being at Bristol? Is this going to grow the sport? Hey, you know what? Maybe it does. Maybe you get a few extra fans. Maybe people see it and think it's cool. Could happen. You're going to have the modifieds there. You're going to have the late models there. You're going to have the sprint cars there. It's going to be a pretty good event. However, I have to wonder if the risk versus the reward is worth it. Is that attention worth that risk versus reward? I do not know what that ratio is. I do know that I'm concerned. And I do know that I still believe that as great of a novelty as it may be, that a track like that where you're putting clay on, there's a lot of variables, a lot of unknowns. I'm still leery against it in this age of trying to make these cars safer. That being said, they're moving forward. I hope they do it in a way that's safe for everybody who participates. That's going to wrap up this edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com Daily. It's free on the SprintCarUnlimited.com YouTube page. Subscribe. We're going to have more of these videos throughout the season, and we'll be back with another edition. Stay tuned.